Hey everybody, today Rado runs through Elysium, which is a very cool card game all about dueling demigods in the Greek pantheon, trying to make their way up the ladder to Mount Olympus. And I'm going to be doing a two-player run through the game today so you can see what it's all about. I've already got the game set up here. And basically, this is a card drafting game where we are trying to get the best cards that come out every round, and the game takes place over 5 rounds, and bring them from the agora, the market, into our personal domain so that we can start using the abilities of these cards. And it's interesting, thematically, like I said, we're demigods. We're already up here, in our Elysium, looking down upon all the mortals here in the middle of the board. And so when I get these people on my side, when I create an alliance, or I recruit some naval power, or I bring about a dark future, or whatever it might be that I'm doing as a young godling, I bring those cards over here into what's called my domain. And as long as they stay here, I can use their powers for my benefit. And eventually what I'm going to want to do is transfer them from the earthly realm, from the domain, here onto my side of the board, which means they've come into my Elysium. Because what I'm trying to do, the best way to score points in this game is to create sets of cards in your Elysium, like straights or of-a-kind sets. You can see there's suit numbers, there's suits, colors, and symbols, and there's also numbers on these. So you're either trying to make straights of a given family, or you're trying to make of-a-kinds with different suits. And so you're trying to bring these over here so you can score big points at the end of the game. The tricky thing is, it costs money, everybody starts with $4 to transfer them from here to here, and once you've made the transfer so that these things are in position to give you points at the end of the game, you can no longer use their special ability. So the game is all about timing and making very, very tough decisions that have to do with your own godly virtues, which are what these pillars represent. And that's the big picture, but I'm going to stop talking about it and I'm going to start doing it. Now, the first thing that happens in every epoch or round, and again, the game takes place over 5 rounds, is a bunch of new cards come out. Now, I've already done that as part of setup. In a 2-player game, there's 7 cards that are available to us, and this line represents over here, what is this called? I keep forgetting. The Oracle. These are 4 of the 7 cards that are going to come out in the second round. So we can start planning a little bit to see, based on what do we want to grab this turn based on what's coming in the future. Now, this Oracle will not always be here. As part of setup, another thing that happens as part of setup is the game comes with 8 different suits of cards, 8 different families that represent 8 different Greek gods, like Hera and Zeus and Apollo and Ares and stuff like that. And every time you play, you're going to take 5 of those 8 families of cards and shuffle them up into a big, massive deck. Now, if you happen to be playing with Apollo, the sun god, then that means the Oracle will be part of your game. And today I am actually doing that. If I recall correctly, I think I am. And the green cards are from the Apollo family. And so that means we have added the Oracle to the game. If Apollo was not in this game, if we hadn't added his cards, then these 4, this whole future thing wouldn't be there, and we'd only know what's available to us, and we have no idea what's coming in the future. But as it is, Apollo's in the game, so I've already set up the Oracle, and I am the first player, which means I start with $4 and 1 victory point. Jen's the second player. She starts with 4 points, and $4 and 2 victory points to make up for the fact that I get to go first. Now, we are going to take turns until each of us has grabbed 3 of these cards and 1 quest. There's a first quest and a second quest. And once each of us have done that, the round is going to be over and we have the opportunity to transfer stuff from the domain, from the earthly domain, into our Elysium. I'm the first player, and so on my turn, I am either going to grab 1 of these cards or 1 of these 2 quests. And the interesting thing about the quest is if I grab this quest, it'll give me $5 and let me transfer 2 cards from the domain to my Elysium. Remember, it's a big part of the game. If I get the other quest, I'll only get $3, but I'll get to transfer 3 cards. And so early on, this is probably the better quest to get because you want to get money if at all possible. And later on in the game, this is the better quest to get because when time is running out, you're desperate to transfer more and more cards from your domain into Elysium so you can score them at the end of the game. No. So on my turn, I could grab any of these 7 cards, or I could grab a quest. And remember, like I said, this is the better quest. So I could just right out of the gate grab a quest, but I mean, there's a lot of good cards here. And every time you play, you're going to get a radically different game based on the cards that come up, based on the combination of families that come out, and based on just what cards you draw. And looking at these cards, let's see here. I think I'm tempted to go for, let's see, I think I'm tempted to go for the Dark Future, which, now, I can just go ahead, and if this is the card I want, I take it. To be able to take any of these cards, though, or either of the quests, I have to be able to meet the godly requirements. To be able to grab a Dark Future, to create a Dark Future, I have to have a blue column. And at the beginning of the game, remember, I've got one of each of these columns. And by the way, the game is very colorblind friendly because, if you can't, if you're colorblind and, red and green are difficult, there's symbols for everything as well. So anyway, for me to be able to grab Dark Future, I have to prove that as a god, I've still got, well, whatever this virtue is, whatever this blue virtue is. I like to think of it as compassion or wisdom or something like that. So at the beginning of the game, I've got all my pillars. So I can get anything. To get naval power, I need a blue. To get the offerings, I need a green. To get the golden throne of Hera, which is a better card, I need to have a yellow and a blue. I have to have my yellow and my blue still. And also, to get these quests, to get the better quest, I have to have the yellow or the green. So that's important to remember as well. If I want to be able to grab the better quest. So I still do think I want this Dark Future because it's a nice, cheap little quick card, and I can get it because, as you can see, I've got blue. Now, this card has this little disc here. What that means is whenever you take a card that has this symbol, you take one of these discs. And this means this power is a one-time thing. I will only ever get to use this power once over the course of the game. And basically, once I've used it, this goes away to indicate I can't use it anymore. Now, once I've used this card and I can't use it anymore, chances are I'm going to want to transfer to my Elysium because it doesn't have much more use for me. But anyway, so I went ahead and grabbed that. And now that I've done that, after you grab whatever you're going to grab, you either grab one of these quests or you grab one of these people or events or places or whatever. Once you've done that, you become tired. You become exhausted. And what that means is one of your 4 columns has to be discarded. And now I don't have to discard the blue because I could discard any of these. But as soon as I discard one of these, that's going to limit what is still available to me on the board. And so I need to be careful about what it is I'm going to try to achieve. Because remember, I have to take 3 of these cards. And what I'm thinking I want to do is, if I can, I want to grab the green 1, and then I'm hoping I'll be able to grab the green 2 as well. Because remember, there's lots of bonus points to be had for, at the end of the game, transferring, in this case, I could start working on a straight, get a green 1, a green 2, and a green 3, and that could be worth, what was that? Oh, okay, yeah. That could be worth 6 points at the end of the game. Oh, it's the fish truck has shown up today. Trying to sell his fish. Nope. Sorry, no fish for us today, sir. Anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and take this one, and I'm hoping to be able to grab this one as well, so I can get the green 1 and the green 2. But to do this, I won't be able to grab this if I don't still have a green column. So now remember, I've taken a card. I have to get rid of one of my columns, and I don't want to get rid of my green, because then I can't get the next thing I want. So am I going to get rid of my blue, my yellow, or my red? Let's see. Well, the interesting thing is, let's see. If I get rid of blue, I won't be able to get naval power or the golden throne of Hera. If I get rid of red, oh, this is interesting. If I get rid of red, I could still get any of these cards because red is not required for any of them. So I think I'll just go on ahead and dump the red. And that was my turn. Now, on your turn, you do the one core thing, which is take a card or a quest. And then on top of that, you have the opportunity to use the abilities of any card you've got. So I've just grabbed this. I can use this card right now. And what this card does is I get 1 victory point. See if I can zoom in on this. There's icons on everything, but it's really nice that there's actually text on all the cards too. Get 1 victory point for each family in the Oracle. So if I look over here, there are 1, 2, 3 families in the Oracle, 3 colors. And so I have to admit, I'm actually pretty tempted to go on ahead and do this right now because I could wait for a future round. I don't have to use this card right now. I could wait, and maybe in the next round, the Oracle will have 4 unique families. But you know what? Maybe it'll only have 2. It's a bit of a gamble. And having 3 unique families, that's pretty good. I think I'm just going to go on ahead and use this power immediately as soon as I got it. And I am going to peer into the dark future, which means I now get 1 victory point for each family, and that's 1, 2, 3. So I just got 3 victory points. 1, 2, 3. All right. And the nice thing is, now that I've used this power, I don't need to worry about keeping it around anymore. So I'm planning on transferring it over to my Elysium later. But now that was it. That was my first turn. I took a card, fulfilling the requirements of the card. Then I discarded one of my columns. It could have been any one of them. And now it is Jen's turn. And so Jen's got to go through the same thought process. And now the interesting thing is, Jen can see how lovely it would be for me to grab this green, because I could, like I said, start working on that. So Jen's tempted to grab that just to keep me from getting a monopoly on greens. But by the same token, Jen is very tempted to grab the Golden Throne of Hera because, well, this is the toughest card to get here because you need to have 2 columns. So if Jen wants to get this, she should probably grab it sooner than later because as more and more of her columns disappear, this would get tougher to get because she needs to have a blue and a yellow. And now this thing is also a one-time special ability. It's interesting. Let's see. This is an instant. This lightning bolt means as soon as you take it, the power will happen and then it's done. This is a ability that you can use over and over and over again. Every round you could tap it to get $1 and 1 victory point for the rest of the game. This and this are both one-time abilities like the one I took. This is a permanent ability you just have for the rest of the game, at least until you transfer it to your Elysium, which is when you take or transfer a citizen, get 1 victory point. All right, and I haven't even gotten to citizens yet. We'll worry about that in a bit. And then this one is a card that you can tap as well. It's a little tap to use the power of get $2, and every other player gets $1 for every the snake, the serpent. I don't know how to pronounce this word, but anyway, the problem is, while this is a nice power, you can't use this power unless you have at least 1 more serpent card in your domain. So if Jen were to grab this, she would not be able to use the power because she doesn't have any other serpent cards. But now if she looks into the future, she can see there's another serpent card coming in the future. And so, now that's really interesting. Yeah. Okay, I think Jen is going to go on ahead and grab Initiation, which required a yellow, which she has. She has all 4 of her columns. So she's grabbed this, and now she has to get rid of a column as well. And she needs to be thinking about what else does she want to grab. And you know what? I mean, since none of these require red, I think Jen's tempted, like me, just to go on ahead and get rid of the red because red is not needed to get any of these cards. Now, red is one of the 2 colors you could use to get the second quest. So, because both Jen and I have gotten rid of red, we'd both be very hesitant to get rid of blue because as long as we keep blue, we can guaranteed get one of the 2 quests. Because you can get into a situation where if you get rid of certain columns, suddenly you can't take anything on the board. And that's when you have to make do and settle for a crappy citizen or a broken quest. So you always want to be very, very careful when you're taking stuff about not penning yourself into a corner, always leaving your options open. That's why it was pretty easy to go on ahead and dump the red because red isn't really very valuable this particular round. Okay, so Jen has grabbed a power, and now she cannot use this power because she needs another snake card, a serpent card, before she can use it. But what Jen's planning on doing is Jen is planning on ensuring that she grabs the first quest, because if she grabs this quest, not only will she get $5 and 2 transfer ability, but she'll become the first player next round, and that means she would have first dibs on the cards that come out next turn, and so she'd be able to grab this initiation as well. And then once she's got 2 snake cards, she could start using the powers. And generally speaking, the snake cards are more powerful than other cards because they're tougher to do because you need matching serpent symbols. All right. So anyway, so that was Jen's first turn. She's gotten a card in her domain. And now it's my second turn. She left it for me, so I can't say no. I'm going to go on ahead and grab this Offerings. And I need to have green, which I still have, so I was able to take it, no problem. And now, once again, I've got to give up a pillar. And so now the decisions get a little bit more tricky. Let's see here. If I give up the blue, that means I can't get naval power, and I could never get this second quest. And so I don't want to give up blue because I don't want to leave myself in a corner where I can't get a quest. So I'm keeping blue, which means I'm getting rid of green or yellow. Let's see. Now, if I get rid of green, I can't get Charon's Obol, which is which is a nice little card. It's a quickie. What happens is you immediately get $1 and then you can immediately transfer 1 card, which is actually pretty cool. It is actually pretty nice. Whereas if I keep my yellow, I'd be able to get this Alliance card or Golden Throne, because if I keep the yellow, if I get rid of the green, I'd still be able to get this. And this is a really nice card. So I think I'm going to hedge my bets. I'm going to get rid of the green, and I'm hoping my third card that I'm going to get might be able to be the Golden Throne of Hera, depending on what Jen does. But anyway, so that was my turn. I've taken 2 cards. Oh, and before I'm done, you know what? I think I'm going to go ahead and use this one-time ability as well, which is get 1 gold for each different family in the Oracle. Remember, like I said, 3 unique families in the Oracle is pretty good. I'm willing to go on ahead and get my $3. So both these things, the Dark Future and the Offerings, have worked out fairly well for me. Okay. And now it's Jen's turn again. And so, let's see here. Now Jen can see what I left. So if she thinks about it, she realizes I can still get the Golden Throne of Hera. And so if Jen wants to grab this, she probably should grab it now. But Jen's kind of torn. Does she want to grab this while she's still got a blue and a yellow before I grab it? Or does she want to grab the first quest? Because remember, Jen really wants to make sure she's first player next turn so that she will be able to get the serpent card, the initiation, because for all we know, this might be the only other serpent card for the rest of the game. This is a big deck of cards, and while there's plenty of other serpents, they all might be down at the bottom. Who knows if we'll actually find them or not. So this is a really tough choice for Jen. Does she grab Golden Throne and take a risk, take a gamble, hoping that I won't grab that first quest, which is what she really wants? Or does she grab the quest, which probably leaves this to me? Now, if she grabs the quest and I grab this, she'll still need to grab 2 more of these. And it's not like there aren't good options down here as well. The naval power is really nice. The nice thing, too, is that means Jen would have 2 Athena cards. I think that's what the owl is. And she could start working Right. Well, she'd have 2 2s. Eventually, she'd want to transfer them. Now, unfortunately, she cannot put 2 2s into the same legend at the end of the game because a legend has to be composed either of different numbers of the same color or different colors of the same number. These are the same number and the same color, so these cannot be put into the same legend. So they don't really combo well together at the end of the game. But it is a great card to have throughout the game. So Jen would be able to get that naval power. She could get the Alliance, which is okay, but not really that great. Or the other thing, too, is, if I end up getting this, Jen could maybe grab both of these ones, and they're both different colors, so eventually she'd get both of these transferred, and she'd start going for a, 5 of a kind of different colors. 5 of a kind of different colors is worth 12 points at the end of the game. And the thing is, if Jen does go for the quest, she's pretty confident I'll take this because it's so good, which means then she's confident she'd be able to get both of these. So I think she's going to do it. Jen is going to go on ahead and grab a quest because she doesn't want to miss out on that. So she grabbed the first quest, which means at the end of the round she'll get $5 and get to transfer 2 cards. She doesn't get those right now, and she has to get, she could do this because she had yellow or green. Remember, she has both of these, so she was able to grab the quest, but now she must give up a pillar. And if she's hoping to be able to grab both of these level 1s so that she could start working on a level 1 legend, a legend full of level 1 cards, she's going to need her green and her yellow, which means she should probably get rid of her blue. But now, getting rid of that blue means she cannot get naval power. She cannot get the Golden Throne of Hera. She's already limited herself. But anyway, she's gone on ahead and done that. That was her second move. Right. And where did her first card go? What did she grab? Oh, why did I put this back here? She grabbed that initiation first, and now she's grabbed this quest. Okay, now, for my turn, now I know there's 1 quest left for me. I want to make sure I get that quest. So I need to keep this blue. So I am going to go for it. Since Jen left it wide open for me, I'm going to go on ahead and grab the Golden Throne of Hera, which is another one-time only ability. And now this is interesting. The one-time ability of this is receive enough gold to match the amount owned by the richest player. So whenever I use this ability, I get gold I get to catch up with Jen. Now, Jen only has $4. I'm actually the richest player right now because I've got 7. Now would not be a good time for me to use this card. I want to wait until I'm really low on cash and Jen is flush with cash. And the nice thing is I know Jen's about to get $5. So I don't think I want to use this power right now. I want to save it for a future round when I'm broke and Jen is rich. And that's when I'll use the power and hopefully get a lot of money for free. So now I've got to give up a column. I'll give up the yellow. Remember, you always have to give up a column. And that leaves me the blue, which means I will be able to get this quest. No problem. And so now, Jen's turn. So she's got her... And the other thing, too, is Jen knows now that I've taken this, my last thing, I can't take another card. I have to take a quest. So that means Jen has unfettered access to these last 3 quests. So she'll go on ahead and she'll grab Charon's Obol, which required a green, which she had, and then she'll get rid of the green. And now, this has a one-time special ability of Jen gets $1 immediately, and then she immediately gets to transfer a card. That's what this symbol means, transfer. And so Jen will go on ahead. Now that this power has been used, it's a one-time thing. It'll never be used again. Jen's just going to go ahead and transfer it. So Jen is the first to transfer a card into her Elysium. Now, whenever you transfer a card, you have to pay money equal to the level of that card. So this was a 1. So Jen just got $1, but then she has to pay $1 to have transferred this. But Jen is now starting to work on her legends, which will score her points at the end of the game. And so it's my turn. My last thing is I'm going to grab this quest. Okay, and I had to give up my last column. So you can see you have exactly 4 columns. You're going to grab exactly 4 things. And so that was my last thing. And now Jen, she's got 1 more column. She left her yellow. And, it's a good thing. She worked this out well because, say if this was a red card, Jen would not be able to take either of these cards, and she'd have to take a citizen, which is kind of like a wild card, although you lose points for it at the end of the game. But as it is, Jen saved herself the yellow. So because she's got a yellow, she can grab this alliance card, which gives her a permanent power, which is, in the future, whenever you take a citizen, you get 1 victory point. So now, citizens, normally they're kind of like a consolation prize when things don't go your way, but now, as long as Jen keeps this in her domain, citizens are actually pretty nice for her to grab. And she used her last column. So now, that was it. We have gone through the first phase of a round, which is called, well, first was Awakening, which is bringing new cards out. Then was Action, so we finished the actions. Now we go to Writing the Legends. And the first thing that happens during the Writing the Legend phase is we refigure out turn order. And so let's put our columns back. So Jen grabbed the first quest. That means she becomes the first player. And I became the second player. If we were playing a 3-player game, all the player order might get shifted around. But now that means Jen is first player for the rest of this round and for the next round as well, which is what she needed because she wanted to make sure she was going to be able to get this other serpent card so she'd be able to start using serpent powers. Okay, so we've reconfigured, the turn order. And now we get our income. Jen makes $5 and she gets to do 2 transfers. And I get $3 and I can do 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. And Jen gets to transfer first, which sometimes matters. It is very, very important, doing this in order. So Jen... Well, the interesting thing is, Jen can do 2 transfers. She's already done 1. But to do transfers costs her money. And I don't think she wants to transfer. And so she's done with this quest. She got her money. She's doing her 2 transfers. This will come back up here for the next round. And the thing is, I don't think Jen wants to transfer either of these because she'll be giving up a power and she'll be giving up a future power. So even though Jen could transfer 2 cards, she's not going to transfer any. She's going to save her money and try to do more transfers later in the game. So Jen's done with her transferring. Now me, I've gotten my $3. I get to do 3 transfers. I'm definitely going to do some transfers because I want to get myself broke as fast as possible so I can use this power to get a lot of money back when Jen is more. So I can do up to 3 transfers. I'm going to transfer Dark Future, which costs 1. And I have started my first legend. Now I'm going to transfer Offerings, which costs 2. And I've got a choice. I can put this, and so I can start working on a green legend. And that means hopefully at some point in the game, I will get a level 3 green card so that I can complete the legend. Because at the end of the game, if you're working on a family legend, having 2 is worth 3 points. So this is already worth 3 points. But if I can get a green level 3 and Aries level 3, I could get 6 points. So Now, alternatively, I could put these into 2 separate legends, and I could look at them as an opportunity to start building different legends. Like, I could be going for an all number 2 and an all number 1. But I think instead, I'm going to start working on this legend. So, and this is already worth 3 points to me, and there's another bonus as well. This, if at the end of the game, if there's a card in your Elysium by itself, it is a failed legend. Nobody will remember it, and it won't help you score any points trying to get to Olympus. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get all these legends told that will help us work our way up the Pantheon. So you want to make sure, and because this is now an incomplete legend. It would be a complete legend if I get a 1, 2, 3. It's an incomplete legend. But the first player to be able to do an incomplete legend in a given suit gets 5 points, baby. So I just grabbed this. Now, the second player to get an incomplete legend, or a complete legend for that matter, in this can get 2 points. I could still get this 2 points if I start another green legend. Although chance, well, that'd be kind of tricky. But anyway, so I grabbed that. That's 5 more points for me at the end of the game. Woohoo! So that's pretty nice. And I could do 1 more transfer. Because remember, I could do a total of 3 transfers. I've just done 2. But now is not a good time to transfer this because I haven't used this power yet. I want to wait. But if I did transfer it, I'd be more poor, but then I wouldn't be able to use it. So even though I could do another transfer, I'm not going to. I'm going to wait on transferring the Golden Throne of Hera till later. All right. So that was it for writing of the legends. And now the last thing we do in a round is we basically just do a little bit of cleanup. Nobody took this card, so it is out of the game. And that's pretty much it. That's all you do at the end of it. It's just, you clean up the cards. And all right, we get our columns back. So now we're going to set up for the second of 5 epochs, which means these 4 cards, which were foretold by the Oracle, will come into the game, as will 3 more. Forges of Hephaestus, 2 yellow cards, 3 yellow cards. Oh my gosh, I shuffled the heck out of this deck. And now we can see a little bit more into the future. And hey, there's that green level 3 card I want. I am definitely going to want to make sure I get a Gathering of Heroes, because if I can transfer it over, I'll have my full complete legend, which will be all about a dark future that led to offerings which called upon a Gathering of Heroes. So that would be the legend that I can tell if I get this in the 3rd round. So I think I am definitely going to want to make sure I'm first player so I can grab that, because who knows, that might be the only green 3 for the rest of the game. So I definitely want to grab that if I can. But anyway, so we are now set up for the second epoch, and Jen gets to go first. She gets first dibs on everything, and there's only 1 serpent card, and there's no more serpent cards. Like I said, this might be the last one of the game. Jen is not messing around. She is totally going to grab this. That's why she grabbed first player. So now that she's got, if you have a serpent card, as long as you have 1 serpent card, you can activate another. So now Jen could start actually using her powers. She had a red, so she was able to claim this, and now she's got to give up a column, which is going to limit her for the rest of the round. And you can see that's actually going to be a tricky thing. You know what? I think actually I'm going to stop right there and let you hit the I to go to extended playthrough, where you can see Jen starting to use these powers, see what she actually chooses, and we'll play through maybe a second, and probably maybe even the 3rd epoch, depending on how I feel about it, because actually I'm still fairly sick. But if you want, you can hit the I up in the top right corner, go to the extended playthrough, or you can go to Final Thoughts. Your choice in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.